classes that use Canvas. I teach at several schools, and one of the new systems in place is Canvas. And while it has its advantages, it does have some disadvantages. And just like any system, so it's not knocking it. It's just when you get into a new system, you do have to learn it and to go through it. Every school has maybe a little quirk to it. So, for example, one school I'm at, they have Canvas, and you have to use Waypoint to submit assignments. So when the grade goes, when you take time to click in Waypoint and submit to Waypoint, that calculates there. Then I have to put information and feedback there. From that point, you have to go in there to see that. The grade will go to Canvas. You'll see that, but the grade, the comments don't come with it. You have to go back into the system. There's nothing I can do with that. I just want to make that clear. It's not that I don't want to be helpful, and it doesn't mean I don't want it to change. It's just nothing I can do with it. That's how the system's designed. Having said that, I have been experimenting with the use of the videos and comments, like discussion posts. That's not something normally I do, given the length of time it takes to do it. It takes a lot more time to use it. And Canvas has I would say like a clunky, you have to click on it. You have to then, once you click on that, then you have to sit there and pick that you want to do something with the video. Then you have to pick the camera. Then you got to, push the button, do the video, save the video, push the save button. It goes on and on. So I've been working with that to see if it can be sped up in order to make it time efficient. So that's something common to all Canvas classes. It's a new feature, and it's something I'm going to try to use more and more, just so I can give more of a personal feedback versus cut and paste stuff that almost every professor does. Discussion posts are hard to grade because there's so many of them, and you have to give some type of feedback, especially if you take points off, but the real feedback is in the paper. So anyways, that's the best way I can explain that. But it's just a brief video to explain how Canvas works with some schools versus others, especially with Waypoint. If you have a school that works with Waypoint or an off-site software that takes papers, for example, you have to be aware that that would be quite the issue, and that you have to go back in to see the comments. So I just want to make sure that's clear. I want to also make clear there is never a time that I give feedback or a grade without feedback. And if you don't understand it, you can always call me or email me. So I give a lot of support. There's no doubt that there's going to be feedback and support. So before sending that email saying that I didn't do something, take time, just a moment, and think, this guy gives a lot of feedback. He uses a lot of videos. He takes a lot of time to make this a very personal and on-site type of class. Maybe I should sit there and ask the question, hey, Dr. Pete, I can't see the feedback. Maybe where is it? Or how do I see it? Or it's a new system and I understand there's some moving parts. Or maybe the system forgot to save it. Just always kind of put that in the back of your head. There's two ways to ask the question, right? So I'm just giving this to everybody just so they know that, for example, here's an example. I had a student that could not, that sat there and said they submitted something but it didn't show up in the system. So my first response is, that's fine, let's work with IT and let's get it submitted. My first response was not, I don't believe you and you didn't do this. Okay, so I want to make that clear. Two different responses. Now, if it came out later they didn't do it, that's a different issue. Okay, but I always believe that you respect people. Mutual respect is what we talk about in the class, and that I assume the best for the student. And then as we move forward, if it's not, then we just say, okay, a mistake was made. We don't have to harp on it, but let's see how we can correct it going forward. I'm more open to these things. If a mistake's made, I understand some teachers are not, and that might be why some people act a certain way or make stories a certain way or attack a certain way. But in my classes, I like to say, let's just assume that we're all adults for a brief moment, and that if there's something I can do to make the class better, I will. Computers make mistakes, I make mistakes, you make mistakes, but let's all work together to fix these things, and we'll all move forward in the process. Plus, if worst comes to worst, call me. I mean, worst comes to worst. So I appreciate it, and best of luck.